Let's get this show on the road. First of all, I want to thank everybody for being here tonight, taking the time to come to this Tumwater Education Association Community Forum. We called this meeting tonight because we really feel that the community, the parents, students, teachers need their voices to be heard in the issue of the contract negotiations that are taking place at this time. We had planned on attending the school board meeting tonight and addressing some of our concerns, the support for our educators, but that meeting was canceled along with the last two evening school board meetings. So we wanted to make sure that people had a chance for their voices to be heard. So we threw this together in the last day and a half, I think. It's pretty much impromptu. But what we've discovered, the Tumwater Education Association, is that when we put out the word to our community, they answer the call. We put out the word earlier this week that we needed declarations from parents to support the fact that our students were not being irreparably harmed by this strike. And in 3 sign-up periods, we had over 800 parents come in and sign declarations in support of our teachers and our association. So the Tumwater Education Association is committed to bargaining a fair and justified settlement. Unfortunately, the district has chosen to focus their energies on a lawsuit and sue the teachers in our community. So we fought that. The judge ordered us back to work yesterday, but the membership resoundingly voted to continue with their strike. And so we were back on the picket line today. And we are working towards a contract that is going to make for safer schools for our students, safer classrooms, smaller class sizes, and then an equitable salary that will recruit and retain teachers here in Tumwater. I've been talking to so many teachers in Tumwater the last couple of weeks that have been here for 25, 28, 30, 35, 38 years in Tumwater. And there's a lot of younger teachers that are just starting their careers, and I want them to look back decades from now and be able to say, I spent my career in Tumwater. I put in 35 years in Tumwater. I didn't want to go anywhere else. I didn't have a reason to go anywhere else. But we are losing teachers from our schools who are choosing to go to places that have safer classrooms and that pay a better salary and that have smaller class sizes. And I've talked to those teachers that are leaving, that have left the last couple of years. And that's the 3 things that they're leaving for. And that are the 3 things that we're really pushing and striving for in this agreement. So we don't think we're asking for too much. We're asking for a fair contract. Our agenda tonight provides an opportunity for people to be heard. It needs to be a respectful conversation, a respectful debate. We need to give each other the same respect that we demand from our students in our classrooms. So if you hear differing opinions, I want you to listen with an open ear and an open heart, and just realize that they're coming from their place. Everybody's coming from their own place, and they deserve to be heard, and they deserve to be respected and honored and valued for what they bring to the conversation. Before I begin, I know a lot of the teachers miss saying the Pledge of Allegiance in their classroom. So if you could stand and remove your hats, and I'll remove mine. It's not my real hat. I know, shocking, isn't it? And please join me in standing for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. The secret's out. I would like to thank two of our school board members who chose to attend tonight. Melissa Baird and Kim Rigdal. So they are coming to listen to what people have to say tonight. It's not a question and answer forum. This isn't a CNN town hall. But my hopes that they will listen to you. We're not asking them to answer questions. I'm sure there will be some rhetorical questions asked, but it's not that kind of forum. They both requested a little time when we're done, a couple minutes to address the audience. But I'm hoping that they will listen to what people have to say here, take it back to their fellow board members, take it back to Superintendent John Bash, and let them know how the community is feeling about what's going on in our classrooms and in these negotiations. The ground rules, we've got a whole host of speakers lined up here. We're going to try to limit each speaker to 2 minutes. Oh, I see it's 3 minutes. 3 minutes. And we're going to start off on my list here. Handwritten. First up, Rick McGrath.
Thank you, Ken, and also thank you, Lisa Summers. Ms. Rakedell, thank you for coming in. Ms. Beard, thank you for coming in. To the Tumwater teachers, you are a passionate group of people that I've enjoyed working with for the last 19 years. Your passion for the students, your passion for the community, and the passion for each other that you give every single day. When you walk the streets, when you're in your classroom, when you're around the world, we know we are a Tumwater teacher. I thank you for that. As in Tumwater, we are a family. We have 45 teachers that went through the Tumwater schools who are now teaching in the Tumwater School District. 45. And if you, go ahead and clap yourself. This is a special place. This is a very, very special place. We have also a lot of teachers who put their young individuals and the trust of us and themselves through this district. I would say close to 70 to 75 teachers have put their young students, adults, who we turn them into, through the Tumwater School District. Your passion for just absolutely shaping lives that we do on a daily basis with a lot of stuff that we do. We are not teaching, we are raising young individuals. That is an awesome thing that we do. People need to know that. For you in the community, you know that because you see it. We have a passion for raising young individuals to beautiful people. And we need to keep doing that. As you all know, it is hard. You have to have the courage to be discouraged. It's just 3 letters away. And it's brutally hard to do. But we have to stick in there. We can do this. We have a beautiful community. Now, this goes, the heck with the rest of it. This goes to the community. I'm not done with notes. You are so special. This community is a special community because you make it special. You support us. The undying support that you have given us, it's just unbelievable. Every day you have people come up and say thank you. Thank you for doing what you do for our kids. I want to thank you for making your kids great too. Without you, we are not us. This community is special. We are Tumwater. And the reason we are Tumwater is because the kids who have come through our schools and the community that you have basically given us your trust, your number one thing in your lives you give to us. I am so honored to be a part of that. You are a fantastic community. I can't thank you enough. This needs to end. We need to get back in the classroom. Number one, I want to teach. I want to be a part of your young person's life. That is my passion. And my passion is right now really, really angry. But I tell you what, when we get there, it's going to be that much stronger. I love this community. It's a fantastic community. I want to thank all the community members being here. Thank you for everybody.
Okay, I jumped my agenda a little bit, started off with speakers, and we do have a short presentation from our lead bargainer. Because now they're awake.
We're going to give them a chance to do it 2 times.
Well, Rick could probably do that again. Anyway, this is Elizabeth Collins representing the WA staff here at the Chinook Uniserve, and she is supporting our bargaining team.
Rick is a tough act to follow, so I am not even going to attempt to do that. I do want to say thank you first and foremost to the members of the Tumwater Education Association. You are amazing, you are wonderful, you are excellent teachers, you are beautiful human beings, and it has been one of the greatest honors of my life to be able to represent you, so thank you. I also want to say thank you to the community. One of the other most amazing things that has ever happened in my professional career working for the Washington Education Association was walking in the door a few days ago and seeing a line of parents and community members around the building waiting to sign declarations saying that the strike was not harming their children. I knew that some people would show up. I was not expecting the line to be around the door, and it stopped me in my tracks and brought tears to my eyes. So thank you, Tumwater parents and community. So I am just going to speak briefly about the history of bargaining this year. And then I have to get back to the district office because we are taking a short break from bargaining so that I could be here. We began bargaining on May 8th. The Tumwater Education Association brought a complete proposal that included requests to lower class size, improve classroom safety, and then fairly and adequately compensate our teachers so we could attract and retain the best ones. On June 6th, we received notice from the district's negotiator that he had been instructed by the superintendent that they would not respond to any of our proposals until we had settled on salary. So we began bargaining on May 8th, and by August 31st, the district had yet to respond to any of our requests to lower class size or to address student safety. At 11:30 in the morning on August 31st, which was the date that the TEA contract expired, the district asked their first clarifying question about our class size proposal. We have bargained almost every day since August 31st. We have bargained every day except for one since Labor Day. I think I can speak for the bargaining team right now to say it was incredibly upsetting and frustrating when we said from day one that our priorities were class size, class size, class size. Tumwater School District ranks 277th out of 295 school districts for the number of classroom teachers to pupils. That translates into higher class sizes. I know that the district has sent out information as recently as about an hour ago saying that our bargained class size was in line with other area districts. That is halfway true, and the bargained number may be in line with other districts, but that bargained number is not a cap on class sizes. That bargained number is when teachers begin to get paid more for having more kids in their classroom. It's not a limit on class size, despite it being presented that way. We are trying to get limits on class size. We do not believe that high school classes with 37 kids are educationally sound. And we don't believe that elementary school classrooms with 25, 26, and 27 kids are educationally sound. And while extra pay for extra work is okay, that doesn't actually limit class sizes. And so that is an important goal of ours, and we are going to work hard until we get it. Sorry, I need to speak more directly in the mic for the people outside. Hi, everybody outside. I hope you can hear me now. Okay, good. So getting actual limits on our class size is important. We think it's important for our kids, it's important for our teachers, and it's important for the community. Another important issue is safety, classroom safety. And again, I know that the district about an hour ago, while we were bargaining, also put out a statement on classroom safety, indicating that the teachers wanted students to be punished. And that was not what we are asking for, so I just want to clear that up now. I have a room full of people. We are not asking that students be punished. We would like that parents be notified when their child witnesses an assault, or if their room is cleared because of a dangerous situation. We don't want the child's name identified. We don't want anybody's privacy violated. We just would like parents to know when their child witnesses something traumatic. And it sounds a little silly, but we have likened it to the letter that goes home when a kid in the class has lice. And so when a child in the classroom has lice, a letter goes home and parents know, hey, this is what happened, you need to check, this is how you make sure that your house is clean, this is how you deal with that problem. We just want something like that says your child may have witnessed something traumatic, these are supports available to them. We don't feel like that's a lot to ask. We also would like to say that we recognize that that's not the kind of thing that normally comes up in collective bargaining. If we had it and it was happening, we wouldn't be bargaining it. But because the situations are going on and parents aren't being communicated with regularly, we are going to try to address that through collective bargaining. I know that the district, along with districts all around the state, received large increases of state funding specifically for educator compensation, both teachers and our classified staff, our paras, and our food service. Just so that everybody knows, the district has budgeted in their board-adopted 18-19 budget for $37.1 million in certificated salaries. And that's on your handouts right here. Whoops, I'm throwing notes around. That includes both admin and teachers, so administrators and teachers. Of that group, 93% of that group are teachers. 93% of that budget would be $34.5 million. The total cost of our current salary proposal is $33.7 million. It is less than was budgeted for certificated salaries and leaves plenty of money to deal with certificated stipends, hiring, and adequate pay for principals and administrators. We hope that the community will encourage Superintendent Bash to end the strike and settle a fair contract. It is within his power to do that. It is within his power to adequately pay his teachers, to lower class sizes, and to ensure that classrooms are safe. I am happy to see everybody here. I have to go back to bargaining now. We are going to keep, your bargaining team is going to keep working hard for the teachers, the students, and the Tumwater community. Thank you very much. And if you have questions, please write them down and we'll welcome them.
Thank you. And I always look forward to these announcements. If somebody's got a green Mini Cooper parked out there, you're blocking a semi. A green Mini Cooper. Out back, a green Mini Cooper. Is that you?
No, they said it was Starbucks. I'm over that way.
I'm just saying, a green Mini Cooper. You're blocking a semi. My job's been done.
I know. I'm part of my size.
Would somebody grab Elizabeth? I think she ran off with my speaker list.
I know who's next.
Yeah, who's next?
Okay. Come on up, Ms. McCann. Introduce yourself.
Well, I will do that.
Okay.
everybody left their
Oh,
notes.
is there a new one? Oh, Lisa has.
Reading glasses from Dollar Tree. Well, I didn't want to follow Rick, and now I don't want to follow Elizabeth, but here I am. I'm going to be sharing a letter with you. The letter is about family. And it's a letter that was originally intended to be a letter to the editor of the Olympian. But they have a 250 word limit, and I went over that limit. So I get to share it with you. It was never intended to be something that went to a mass audience. Because I'm not really sure how many people actually read the Olympian. Ouch. Are you from the Olympian?
Oh, he's over there.
I would have given you kudos if you'd published my letter.
Sorry.
Yeah, well, you get to hear it now anyway. At any rate, I have a daughter who is a teacher. She posted this on mass media. And I have a husband who decided that it should go to the school board. So he sent it to the school board, and thank you, Melissa Beard, for responding. I appreciate that. My name is Kathy McCann, and I'm a teacher. My students call me Mrs. McCanny. Right, Tracker? I got one right over there. And they can do that because they're 5. Nobody else can get away with that. I've been a teacher in the Tumwater School District for 27 years, faithfully serving my school community as well as my district community. For several days now, I've been mulling over the following statement made by Superintendent John Bash on September 7th in an interview with Cairo 7 News. He stated, "We often call ourselves a family." Fortunately, I know what it means to be part of a family. I consider myself blessed to have several families. My family of origin, in which I learned the importance of stewardship and service to others. My father was a pastor, and my mother was an educator, as well as a champion for the homeless. The family my husband and I created together, with 2 amazing daughters who taught me the importance of unconditional love and of personal sacrifice. My oldest daughter is a first grade teacher, and my youngest daughter is a nanny. Caring for children runs in our blood. My family of friends, from whom I've learned the values of commitment, trust, and loyalty. My school family, the teachers and staff members who work by my side, the children like Tracker and Ella and Jaden that I educate or seek to educate and nurture, and the families that support me in our mutual efforts to do the best by their kids. They've taught me to live in love. And live in love is my classroom motto. I have it tattooed on my arm. It's not only inked on my skin, but it's emblazoned in my heart. So that when I have little friends who annoy me a little or with whom I get disgruntled, if I have a little friend who wipes the boogers on me or says, "Mrs. McCann, you're so mean," I can just look at my wrist and look at the quotes on my wall and remind myself of why I do what I do. And I take a deep breath and I say, okay, we can work this out. And now there's my union family. The sisters and brothers who stand by my side and walk the picket line with me fighting for a just cause. They've taught me the importance of compassion, of commitment, and of unity. Because I know what family is, I also know what it is not. In a family, there is no me, there is only we. Family members don't seek to coerce or manipulate one another to follow a certain agenda. They work together toward a common resolution. When a family member tells you you're important, they mean it. They mean it with all their heart. When conflict occurs, as it always does, they say, I'm sorry. Family members lift each other up instead of bringing each other down. Family members demonstrate respect because they truly care for and value you. And as Lilo said to Stitch in the movie Lilo and Stitch, family means no one gets left behind. In the same statement made by Superintendent Bash, he went on to say, there's a little turbulence in our family right now, but we think we'll come back together. Really. I beg to differ. Because we're not a family. We are a school district that has been divided. And we've been fractured from the top down. And like Humpty Dumpty after his fall, there are too many broken pieces to be put back together again. We can't change what's broken, but we can build something new. Starting with the foundation that we've established based on years of education, years of labor, a myriad of skills and gifts and talents of all of the teachers who serve this community. We will work together to create a better and a stronger and a more unified district. Until that time, and I hope that time is soon, in the words of an American spiritual, I ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. Turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking. I'm gonna keep on talking. Thank you.
Regina Brown?
Thank you.
Speak right into that.
I
mic
will.
so they can
I
hear you
will
outside.
do that. Okay, so my name is Regina Brown, and I have 3 daughters that have either gone through or are currently going through the Tumwater School District. 14 years ago, we made a decision to move to Tumwater from Olympia. We had done the research and decided that Tumwater was where we wanted to raise our family because of the schools. So we made the move. First up is Rick here. I just want to say thank you to Rick because I was really inspired by what he said, because what I heard him say was what a family Tumwater is. And I look around here and I see that, and I also hear that in your words too. This is a family. It needs to be a family. I'm going to share a little story about my family. But as you can see here, I have Centralia Strong here. I do work in Centralia. I've worked down there for 17 years. I've made that commute. And we did just settle our contract. Elizabeth, that you had heard earlier, helped us with that. Another parallel is that we also have the same law firm that is being used in this negotiation. And I will just say this, there is very many parallels. How Tumwater is being treated is not unique. There's a playbook. And we are who's being held hostage by that playbook. So yesterday, I'm just winging this. Yesterday, I picked up my daughter, who's a 7th grader, from soccer. She was playing soccer with Kim's daughter. It's pretty exciting. It's raining. She got in the car. We went to go check the mail, and she was with one of our wonderful teachers, Jennifer Hirelong, who, because she's, coaches, it's a different contract, and she's coaching still, which is a gift to my daughter right now. And while we were checking the mail, she's like, how did court go on Wednesday? This is Wednesday. What's today? Thursday? That was just yesterday. She said, how'd court go? And I said, I'm trying to nutshell it. And I'm having a hard time. Really hard. That the decisions that we make that are being made right hopefully soon, tonight would be perfect for this community, The decisions we make for this community regarding the Tumwater School District and this very fair, hopefully competitive and safe contract, as I'm looking at my 7th grade daughter, I'm realizing this decision doesn't just affect her. It affects her children. So our children's children are who will be impacted by this decision. And I want to be really clear about that. Because at first it might not seem like that big of a deal. It's kind of a slow leak, no big deal. Your kids are maybe older, so it's not a big deal. But it will be a slow leak of Tumwater. And businesses will be impacted. The schools will absolutely be impacted. And my own children may not want, when I hear that there's 40-something educators, or however many educators, and the children that have been here forever and their children are here. My daughter, I just dropped off to college. She wants to be a teacher, Lisa Summers, like you. But I don't know if she'd want to teach in Tumwater. I don't know that. So that said, we have to be really thoughtful, because what we do now has a very big impact on generations, and especially at least one generation from now. And I'm not overstating that. I'm not being alarmist. I'm telling you a fact. Other states have gone through this process where they do what's happening in our state is 200, and I don't know, somebody watched the time, but 200 school districts or so have to come up with their own individual salary schedules. It's really a burden. And so that's what we're doing. We're trying to come up with a salary schedule, which we did in Centralia. I'm proud to say that we actually in Centralia are going to make more than Olympia School District. But only because of some of the tactics that went on, that went so poorly, that eventually we settled for more than we asked initially, because of, quite frankly, what I feel is that law firm that has been guiding this process, where it could have been settled in the summer for a lot less. Now, I'm kind of happy about that right now, but it's a shame, because the time is wasted. Centralia Strike 2, it's damaged our community. But my heart's here, though. This is where I live. This is where I'm raising my children. And I want to ask all of you, what kind of life do you want for your children's children? What kind of schools do you want for your children's children? Because that is what is at stake right now. That is what is at stake. And I shared that with a coworker today, and she has 2 children, and she never thought about it that way before. But that is what is at stake right now, is what kind of Tumwater legacy do we want? Because I guarantee you, if it is not honored, I wouldn't be surprised if some of our teachers decided as a whole fell swoop just to leave, just to make a point, because they were not valued here. I value them. I value them. They have been my family. Tumwater is actually the longest place I've ever lived in my whole life. I've been here 14 years. Longest place I've ever lived in my whole life. It's my family. So I'm asking you to think about all of our families. What kind of legacy do we want to continue to have Tumwater be? I hear amazing stories about the past of Tumwater. I want to talk about the future of Tumwater. And that is what is at stake. So people who don't understand these teachers striking, what, get over it already? Like, isn't it enough? It's not about that. This is what hit me yesterday. This amazing teachers union has a long game in mind. They have a long game in mind. Their long game is your children's children. That's their long game. Not themselves. Your children's children. And the other thing I want to tell you is, as I'm holding this mic as a parent, I'm also an educator. And guess what? When you're an educator, you don't have as much of a voice. So if I want to talk to my district about stuff, they're like, but if a parent approaches them, they're all ears. So I'm using my parent voice right now, okay? And I want you to be all ears, because it's frustrating to me when the teachers don't have as much of a voice. And here's what's even worse. Teachers that are parents in this district are in a really rough spot because they don't feel like they have the voice. And I want to be their voice. I'm using my parent voice, and I want it to be heard, and I want you all to use your parent voice in the sense of your voice matters more than you even realize. I did not know that until I worked in schools. Parent voices have huge power, huge impact. It's actually kind of frustrating sometimes as an educator how much more power it has, because I am saying the same thing, but it's heard more when this person says it, the parent. So I'm using my parent voice right now on behalf of the entire Tumwater Education Association, but more importantly, on behalf of our children and our children's children. Think deeply about that. And I'm going to ask all of you, since I have a captive audience, parents, do not pressure these teachers to cave. Do not do that. you gotta think of the long game here for your children's children. And as I looked at my 7th grade daughter yesterday, and it hit me in my brain before it came out my mouth to her, I didn't know how to say that to her, but I said it to her. I said, I'm doing this not just for you, I'm doing it for, I want this. I asked her, is Tumwater a place you'd want to live when you grow up? And she's like, yeah. Do you think you'd want to have your kids go to school here? Yeah. So I want that to be her truth her whole life. This is where she wants to go. This is where she wants to live. This is where she wants to teach, if she wants to teach. This is where she wants to raise her children. And that we have, now you can actually make a living wage. Maybe I'll end on this note. So a week ago, my contract was I'm gonna be fully transparent here because it's public, you can look me up. $68,000 and like maybe 500 something was gonna be my contract this year that I signed in May. But now we have this new salary schedule, so Centralia finally settled. On Tuesday we voted, just this Tuesday. And I came from Centralia to Black Hills High School because it hit me like, I'm gonna make $26,000 more a year in Centralia, which by the way, that's mid-range. That's actually probably right in the ballpark of what Tumwater should be paying, if not more, because it's a bigger community. Time? Okay. Okay, so I'm just saying, think the long game. Think the long game and stand by these teachers because they've had that long game in mind the whole time. Thank you.
I had a young man come up and ask me if he could speak, so I slid him into the speaker order. I think anytime a 5th grade student wants to come up and speak to an audience this large, he should be allowed to do so. So, Victor Riley, can you come up here? And Victor, let me remind you, there's a 3-minute limit. We're trying to fit a lot of people in, okay? I think Victor's got it. Hold that thing really close to your mouth. Speak loud, thank you.
I was very disappointed when I could not go to school last Wednesday because the school board would not give these nice teachers the money they deserve. I feel like these teachers deserve more money because they teach us kids the things that we need to know when we are all grown up. Thank you for your time.
Victor, would you like to read that again? I like that one. Matt Bell. 3 minutes, Matt.
This will be quick. Dear Tumwater School District, TSD's board approved budget for certificated salaries is $37.1 million. TEA's latest offer would cost $33.7 million for teacher salaries. Add in certificated administrator salaries, and you are still below what you budgeted for. Apparently that's unacceptable, and you sue us. Our classes are overloaded, and our special education kids and teachers need a safer environment. Ironically, in court yesterday, you seemed so concerned for our students with special need, yet your latest proposal increased caseloads for special ed teachers. Nothing the district does makes sense. It's all lip service, lies, and deception, and I encourage everyone to disregard any emails and website information you receive from Tumwater School District. We are teachers. We know numbers. Over forecast expenditures and under forecast revenues all you want. Make up a new category to hide funds. It doesn't matter. You are trying to divide us, and it is having the opposite effect. You are trying to pit our community against us, and it's having the opposite effect. We are stronger than ever, and we will be here for a while. Tell the community we left the bargaining table at 7 o'clock 2 nights ago. That's fair, but we only did because our mediator said there would be no other offers from the district, and we should go home. But good spin, Tumwater School District. Send out an email that says we left at 7 o'clock, like we don't want to be there. Well played, except this is not a game to be played. I am so tired of you saying you're bargaining in good faith. If you were, I'd be teaching now. Additionally, you canceled yet another board meeting today. Why do you always cancel board meetings in a time where so many people want to speak? Well, the public wants to talk to you, so we're hosting this community forum tonight at the exact same time the school board meeting was supposed to happen. The front row is reserved for you. 1 chair for John Bash, who urged the board to sue us, and 5 chairs for the board members who unanimously voted to sue us. Finally, to the school board, if you are running for a re-election, good luck. We thought we had 2 supporters of teachers on the board, but the unanimous vote makes one wonder. Sincerely, Matt Bell, 21 years of teaching Tumwater students. Thank you.
We all memorize the order because we don't really want to do this. Most of us want to be in our classrooms. For those of you who don't know, I'm Kelly McNeil. I've been in the Tumwater School District for 29 years. That's all I have to say to introduce myself. Glasses would be good. The district has paid a law firm to try and force Tumwater teachers back to work. But if the district paid teachers what was allocated in a budget, we would all happily go back to our classrooms. So let me talk about the district's hiring of the Seattle law firm of Porter, Foster, and Roddick. Their website claims that they believe that education is the most important function of state and local government. And during the last 40 years, they have worked with over 120 Washington school districts, offering practical, results-oriented approach to deal with legal issues grounded in thorough understanding of the environment in which schools operate. And although I agree on the importance of education, I cannot believe a Seattle law firm has an understanding about teaching in Tumwater. How can they understand how difficult it is to teach 38 students in a pre-calculus class? Or how hard it is to teach when you are worried about the safety of your students and yourself? Porter, Foster, and Roddick also claim that by working with school districts to identify and resolve their legal issues, they can free the districts to concentrate on their most important job of educating public school students. It appears to me that their legal guidance involves collecting their billable hours from the taxpayers of Tumwater and trying to handle and bully teacher unions. Centralia fought them and won. And hopefully we in Tumwater will also get a fair contract soon and return to our classrooms and let the lawyers return to Seattle. In the past year, gaslighting has been a popular buzzword. The short definition is the manipulation by psychological means into questioning reality and sanity. The longer definition involves systematically withholding factual information from and or providing false information to the victim, having the gradual effect of making them anxious, confused, and less able to trust their perception. Our district hired master gaslighters to conduct their business for them. Bargaining doesn't have to involve lawyers, but if you are going to involve lawyers, you can hire a firm that will help you bargain in good faith. Or you can hire a firm that treats the bargaining team with disrespect, lies, and misinformation, and works on gaslighting an entire community. It is now obvious which path the district has chosen. So many mistakes were made with that one decision of hiring that Seattle law firm. The Tumwater School District chose a firm that promised to free the district up to concentrate on the most important job of public education. But as a Tumwater teacher of 29 years, it seems both the law firm and the district has lost sight of the most important job of teachers being in classrooms. In the past couple of months, the district has made me feel silenced, disrespected, anxious, and confused. I am at this forum to try to be heard. But this is not my forum. My forum is my math classroom. It is where I'm confident, respected, and at home. Kim and Melissa, thank you for being here. Thank you for being the only two to reply to my letter to the board and the district administration 2 weeks ago. But the time to talk is over. It is now the time to let our actions speak. I ask you to direct the lawyers to remove the injunction. I ask that you get the bargainers to work to lower class sizes, allow us to improve and ensure the safety of our students and staff, and to give us the competitive salaries that are in the board-approved budget for this year. Ironically, I would like to end with an inspirational quote from Horace Mann found on the law firm's website. If ever there was a cause, if ever there can be a cause, worthy to be upheld by all of toil or sacrifice that the human heart can endure, it is the cause of education. I would like to thank my teaching colleagues for joining me in the cause and the fight for the students of Tumwater. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to skip down the speaking order really quick. I need to get a community member in here. We've heard from several teachers. Doug Johnson.
This shouldn't take longer than a half an hour, so I excuse me. My son Ryan Johnston could not be here tonight, so he had some thoughts he felt they were important enough to share with you, and I was asked to be a substitute tonight. I'm sure that rings true with a lot of our substitute teachers. This is him. I tried to cut it down. I didn't feel comfortable shedding any of his thoughts. I would very much like to be here, almost as much as I wished it weren't necessary at all for us to be together here tonight. I was a Tumwater School District student from kindergarten through my high school graduation in 2004. During those 13 years, I was fortunate to have called several of the people in this room teacher. It's my firm belief that getting a competitive contract for the people in this room is of paramount importance to the future of Tumwater. Every negative opinion I've seen about this strike has centered around the word greed. Let's talk about greed for a minute. Teachers here make less than their counterparts in North Thurston. They make less than Olympia, by the way, who received a very unfavorable contract recently. They make less than Shelton, which has a lower cost of living. They make less than Centralia. I don't think that it's greedy to ask to be compensated.
They're asking you to hold the mic closer to your mouth back there.
Tough. Let's go from there. I don't think that it's greedy to ask to be compensated at the level of peers with the same level of qualification. I'd like to lay out why, even though it hurts in the short run and makes us uncomfortable, getting this contract settled fairly is advantageous to all of you, all of the parents. Teachers have left Tumwater since my graduation because of the pay, because of the class size. By the way, we're in the bottom 10th of the state, and because of unsafe working conditions. Folks stay here because of loyalty. I assure you, they won't stay forever. Some will retire sooner or later. Some that can pursue better district cultures and better lives for their families will do that. Who will be left once you drive those folks away? Well, you'll have everyone that didn't get hired by one of the districts that can afford to be more selective. We need to make a concerted effort to keep the high quality teachers we have. I'm not a teacher. My wife's not a teacher. None of my parents are teachers either. This is still my problem. It's all of our problems. Where would I be if it weren't for Tumwater teachers? I definitely wouldn't have had the self-confidence to go to officer candidate school for the Marines if it weren't for National PE Teacher of the Year, Lisa Summers. I wouldn't have gone to flight school or met the other Marine officer that would introduce me to my wife. I wouldn't have my son. In economics, you get what you pay for. If you're unwilling to suffer the inconvenience now, you're going to be stuck with the bottom of the barrel results later, I promise you. I've talked to these people for whom I have the utmost respect and adoration. With this leadership climate, they're not going to put up with business as usual for much longer. Frankly, I'm not either. This has been home for 32 years for me. Even on active duty, wherever I lived, Tumwater was home. When I got out and moved back, I hoped it would be forever. If we consider business as usual, I plan to pursue my son's education in a district that doesn't think its teachers are glorified babysitters. I plan to communicate with a local school board, even though they are in voluntary positions. Wrong page. Last page.
Make it quick. Your time's...
I plan to put my money where my mouth is because that's what you have to do to break a cycle. The cycle is wrong here. We can fix it. Help us fix it. Ensure that Tumwater's future is powered by the brightest. Thank you.
Heidi, and hold the mic up close to your mouth because that'll make the people outside happy.
Let's try this mic. I think let's give this mic a shot.
Hello, my name is Heidi Johnson. I graduated from Tumwater High School back in 1990, and I am now the leadership teacher at Black Hills High School, and this is my first year to teach, as I have been a paraprofessional at Black Hills High School for the life skills class for the last 2 years. I'm going to read my notes so I can stay on track. I hold a deep sense of pride in our school for the students, teachers, and all the staff. I am privileged to work alongside amazing individuals, and I am honored to serve all our students. And yet my heart has been crushed over and over again by the broken system we work in. Last year I was in an overloaded life skills classroom. For those who don't know, life skills is for our most vulnerable students. We teach basic skills for living, and our job is to help our students who don't speak learn how to communicate, understand basic math for making purchases, recognize emotions in others and express their own in appropriate ways. We teach our students basic reading so they can understand the world around them. Our students often struggle to socialize, and so we demonstrate and directly teach this. Our students are sometimes caught in their own minds and bodies, unable to share themselves or connect with others. We become their lifeline to the world as we work on teaching them how to connect. And amongst other unique traits, our students don't often connect their actions to outcomes. It's our job to explicitly teach it. Imagine a student who has all of these struggles every day. Put yourself in that place. How would you manage the world around you? And take a moment and imagine that. We experience the all too frequent moments in the classroom where adults are harmed by students. We don't blame our students. We love each and every one of them. We blame the system for failing each of them. In the 2017-2018 school year, there was an accumulation of events where staff were harmed and students were at risk for harm. We reached a breaking point and extended an invitation to the district to help us. We followed every rule and process laid out to us. We were hopeful, but we were denied any changes or support. As teachers, we are rule followers. It is what we teach every day. This is part of what pains us so deeply to be on strike, breaking the law and not following a judge's order. But we often feel like our collective voice as advocates for our students is being ignored. Imagine what it feels like to spend every day advocating for the safety of your child, and in doing so, it becomes necessary to break a rule or law. Take a moment and imagine that. It is normal for parents to hear from us when there is a lice outbreak or a lockdown at school. We take these moments to communicate what has occurred at school, but we are not allowed to inform parents of our most vulnerable students when their child was either a target of or witness to violence in the classroom. Some of these students are nonverbal, so they also cannot tell their family. As a parent, I want to know when violence occurs in my kid's school, because the most natural thing I can do is to help them process it. I am my child's gateway to emotional intelligence. Now imagine if something happened to your child at school and they didn't have the ability or skills to communicate it with you. Take a moment and imagine that. We have a parent here in the room who has been in that very situation. This is not hypothetical, this is real. We want to help parents support their students by communicating with them what happens in the classroom, the good, the bad, and the avoidable. What if your right to support your child was not granted to you by a lack of communication? This is not hypothetical, this is real. Take a moment and imagine that. Many people are out here fighting for the salaries our state legislature funded for us and the district is withholding. I am here for the change we did not get last year. I am here for our most vulnerable students. I am here for the ones who cannot speak for themselves. I am here for smaller and safer classrooms. Nelson Mandela said, "Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. Please give us a fair contract so we can get busy changing the world." Thank you.
Sadly, I have a huge speaker list, and I've only got time for one more speaker. And then I'm going to give our welcome guests here a chance to address the audience. But if you have things to share with the district, please either try to set up an appointment or email them again. Mary?
It's hard to follow Heidi. My name's Mary Catherine Pallon. I'm a Tumwater parent and a special education teacher and a former Tumwater special education teacher in a life skills room. I taught in Tumwater for 7 years. Lisa Summers read my last statement to the board at the last board meeting that was held. I am here for my students, because once you're a student of mine, you're always mine. And as we say in my classroom every day, we do hard things, and we're better together. So thank you for coming tonight. After checking with an attorney, I'm going to read. After checking with an attorney, here is the gist of the legal definition of irreparable harm. Harm that cannot be repaired. If a child is physically or mentally injured, it is irreparable. Keep that in mind. I'm going to come back to this. It has been argued that the strike is causing irreparable harm to students, especially special education students. Thank you, Zach. I have a question for all of you to think about. If your child had experienced a lockdown, would you expect a notification from the district? Yes. Of course you would. You would want to know that the district saw an unsafe situation and took precautions to keep everyone safe. Another question. If your child experiences a room clear because another student is being unsafe or was a witness to their teacher or support staff being assaulted, would you want to know? Yes. Of course you would. You probably expect that such an obvious and reasonable action would occur. It does not. TJT has deposed that parents have been notified in the past, yet I have no evidence of that. Notifications of such occurrences need to be written into the contract. Because the truth of the matter is that when working under the current administration at the district level, assuming good intentions does not work in Tumwater anymore. Parents and community members, please understand it has to be in the contract to protect students and teachers. I left Tumwater School District because I was consistently ignored when I saw a potential danger to students in my classroom environment, and in turn, time and time again, danger occurred and people were badly hurt. The last straw came when one of my nonverbal students, who was confined to a wheelchair and a dependent on another person to push their chair, experienced a Chromebook fly over their head before nearly hitting the para and smashing into the cupboards across the room. I was horrified at the thought of what would happen if that Chromebook would have hit them. As it was, I lost a wonderful para for the remainder of the year, and the district demanded that the Chromebook throwing student return to my classroom, putting us all in the same situation. While the student returned to the classroom with a one-on-one para, the student's presence caused anxiety and regression in students, and I moved my students to a new location to keep them safe. Keep in mind that I am legally responsible for the safety of my students, yet I have no say in student placement. Placement is supposed to be a team decision, yet it is usually an edict from the district office. Back to irreparable harm. I hate to be Captain Obvious here. If you do not report that harm has occurred, does that mean it's not happening? What needs to occur for real change to happen? Does a student need to be badly hurt or die? I cannot verbalize how broken any given teacher would be to have a student badly hurt or die in their care, especially when the teacher warned the powers that be of danger. We can do better. The district has a verbal contract with the community. Well, it's written, it's all over their vans and stuff. And I question that it's being honored. Writing smaller class sizes and notifications to parents into the contract seems like a reasonable request.
My boss has said I need to allow for a couple more parents to speak. We're going to limit it to 1 or 2 minutes. Quickly.
Thank you. My name is Molly Herzog. I have 3 children who have been in the district since 2010. All 3 have special needs. One is in the life skills classroom, one has mental health issues, and one has a specific learning disability. Despite my advocacy, none of my kids has gotten the supports and services they need and deserve. And not because of the teachers, but because of, I thought, a lack of resources. Our oldest child was traumatized 2 years in a row by violent children who the district knew were violent and chose to place in the same classroom with the most vulnerable, profoundly disabled students in our community. Not every disability is the same. You don't just park all the one-offs in a room together. You take the violent kids and you do something else with them. I'm okay with having kids with medical issues in one room, with my boy who has intellectual disability, but don't put the kids who are violent in with them because half of them can't even speak in order to be able to complain about it. Guess how I found out about that? Not from our kid who's not verbal enough to tell us. No, from one of his friends who happened to come over for dinner. And that's how I started to unravel what the hell had been going on in that classroom. And then last year, by the end of the year, 3 of the 4 paras were out on disability because they had been injured. It was no surprise when Mary Pallon resigned. I'm sorry, I'll pull it back together here, but all right, my second kid has major mental health issues, suicidal ideation, self-harm. She's threatened suicide at school. She has a 504 plan that requires her to either be in school or with her counselor. And guess what? She skipped school, she skipped classes, she went to school, skipped classes over 100 times last year, and no one knew where she was. She could have hung herself. No one knew where she was. 504 is federally funded. Mental health is a disability. Nobody knew where she was. My last kid reads at the 3rd grade level, even though he's going into the 8th grade. He sat in Gen Ed Science and in Gen Ed History, where he can't read the pieces of paper that are being put in front of him. And the teachers, as fabulous as they were, and as much as they wanted to help him, they can't exactly stop and read those materials to my boy when they're trying to teach 30 other kids. No, they can't. So I guess over time, I've just become, my hope has slowly died. I've had 5-10 meetings a year about each kid since the very beginning, and as much as everybody nods their head yes, there's no money coming. They don't get extra supports. It just doesn't happen. And I was prepared to accept that and accept the realities of a limited budget, but now when I learn that there's some $19 million rainy day fund, it is raining.
Good evening. My name is Arlie Seaton. My daughter is a senior at Tumwater High School, and I totally came here not prepared to say anything, but I want to put a real-world spin a little bit on this. I'm a mortgage lender, and I see in this room there's other people that are too. And what often doesn't get understood is the bedrock of most communities is home ownership. When we have people who want to live and stay where they're teaching, that helps all of us. One of the most significant challenges that us lenders deal with is financing teachers. Most teachers go to college, and a lot of them continue on and go to the grad school portion of things. I don't want to speak for everybody out here, but I can tell you I see credit reports all the time with $50, $60, up to $100,000 worth of debt for teachers that are putting themselves out there to educate our children. We have rules that we have to follow that oftentimes prevent us from qualifying them. A lot of teachers choose what's called an IBR, income-based repayment program, because they want to try to be able to afford everything. We can't use those. We have to use 1% of those student loans. So if you have a teacher that has $100,000 worth of student loans, we have to hit them with a $1,000 payment right off the bat. They got a car loan, they got credit cards because they buy supplies for all the classes that they can't get funding for on their own. It is a real world problem, and it breaks my heart because these are the people that we go to work every day for, wanting to help. It's easy to finance the people that make a ton of money and have a ton of money down. It's the first-time home buyers who want to build a community, and what do? They decide to go somewhere else where there's a higher paying wage, where they can afford to buy a house, and we lose the good teachers that should stay in our district because of that.
Catherine Sailors.
I'm not
Don-
on the list, but I'll talk.
Donna Elliott.
Catherine's right there.
Oh, Catherine? Making her way out. I'm going to tell you, I've got a long list of people up here, and I am not going to be able to get to everybody. But come on up here.
Okay.
I'll just call you up.
No, I'm gonna cut
Get
you
it
off
quick?
now.
All right.
I'm
Thank you.
gonna remove it around. I don't know the most important part.
Hi, my name is Catherine Sailors. I currently have a student that will be a 7th grader at Tumwater Middle School. I would like to share some of my experiences. I'm gonna hack through this so we can just get some points. I attended Black Lake Elementary, Tumwater Middle School, and then I graduated from Black Hills High School. I was a student with an IEP. Oftentimes, classrooms were too full for my mainstream teachers to give me the assistance that I needed. Also, in my special ed class, the only class I had in my high school was study hall, and they didn't have a study hall that suited me, so I was put into a life skills room in a corner with no paraeducator or instructor. I was also a substitute paraeducator in the district,
And so just real quick, I wanted to say, anyone that is currently a paraeducator or a teacher in the special ed department, please raise your hand. That's all we got in here? Okay. And then if you have ever been harmed physically by a student, keep your hand up. If you feel that that could be prevented by our district, please raise your hand. Thank you guys, I really appreciate all that you do for our kids. I'm just gonna end it there. That kind of hits my points I wanted to have. Thank you guys.
Is there a Luke Johnson here?
Yes, there
Black
is.
Hills High School?
Yep.
Get on up here, Luke. 1 or 2 minutes would be great.
All right, just a little quick intro. I'm Lucas Johnson. I'm a senior at Black Hills High School. My mom is Heidi Johnson. She spoke a couple minutes ago. I'm here to support Tumwater teachers, including my mom. So as a former paraeducator, she loves the life skills kids that she's worked with. She's been subject to unsafe conditions, and I've seen her come home with scratches and bruises from work. I don't know how many people take comfort in seeing their mother subject to an unsafe environment on a regular basis, but that's something that I've seen in my life. The saddest part is that I know that what has happened to her is not the worst that happens there, and the district does nothing to support the safety of the classroom. So I'm also part of the ASB team, and this summer my ASB team had an opportunity to go to a leadership camp. They taught us a lot of stuff about human needs, and we were taught about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which is a motivational theory in psychology comprising a 5-tier model of human needs, which is often depicted as a pyramid. So the needs lower down on the hierarchy must be satisfied before the individuals can attend to the needs higher up. From the bottom up, the hierarchy needs are physiological, safety, love and belonging, esteem and self-actualization are the top two. Without the needs of safety being met, there's no way that teachers and students can reach this self-actualization and be able to thrive at school. Without the issues of safety being fixed, teachers cannot effectively teach and students cannot effectively learn. Classrooms are too full. We started with 38 kids in my pre-calculus class. We lost 5 of those just because it was too hard for them to learn in those conditions. It's my senior year, and I understand people wanting the strike to be over, but I support my teachers and will wait with them for a fair contract, including competitive pay, smaller class sizes, and safety in the classroom. Thank you.
Ashley Hamilton. One or 2 minutes, right, Ashley? Thank you.
This is good. I'm going to try my best to stick to the facts. I'm a parent of a child that is supposed to start kindergarten this year. He attended the developmental preschool for the last 3 years. He started right after his 3rd birthday. Over time, we experienced great cooperation and just love through the teaching staff at the developmental preschool. My child's biggest challenge, he has many challenges with speech and occupational therapy, but his number one challenge is something called elopement. And for many of you, you might not know what that is, but many people in the special education community probably do. And that is a child that will leave a safe condition at any time, at any place, and just leave that condition into other unsafe conditions. So that is my child's number one struggle. Last year, when he was 4, turning 5, I expressed my concern over my child's safety, and not his teacher's ability or willingness to keep him safe, but just anyone's outside of a one-on-one. To say that I was immediately taken seriously it took some pushing. It took a lot of work through an advocate and some time and some data. So I would like to talk about the data for just a minute, and then I will go. We started the push in September. And we met with the results in February. And in that time was 56 days of school. And of this 56 days, my child tried either successfully or attempted to leave the classroom 116 times. And in the evaluation of whether or not a one-on-one would be recommended or even an extra para in the classroom, there was no mention of the data from the classroom in that evaluation. Which, as a parent, you work so hard to work with the system and work with your teachers, and to see the numbers that support the services that your child needs are not taken into account is heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking as a parent because you wonder how much more needs to happen for them to get the help they need. I will report that it was approved, but it was not easy. And we start kindergarten with a one-on-one in hopes. In the 36 days that he had for preschool, he showed more improvement than he did in the 3 years. So we talk about safety, and we talked about violence in the classroom, but I think there's a part of safety that we also forget, and that's the individuals and helping them stay safe and also get the education that they need to become more independent. And how, I think Regina, you said the decisions we make impact lives, and the differences that we can make in children, not just like my son, but any child can change their entire life.
Casey Sobel.
I'm a proud parent of 2 kids in the Tumwater School District, and I'm also a firefighter here in the area. And I've had the opportunity to be out with the teachers and supporting them, just like they support our kids in the classroom. And two things that I wanted to kind of bring up to our board members that I'm concerned about. We've talked about kind of the issues that are at play right now, but I'm concerned too about the messaging that's been coming out from the district and some of the half information. And I think a lot of people in this room can agree that it's made it very difficult for us as parents to understand really what's going on. And I think that it's fair for us. The school district is an official, the official word that we see, and a lot of parents that aren't here or people take that word for what it is. And I've worked with a lot of negotiating myself with the fire department, and it's made it very difficult to. I've sought other information to find out what's truthful, because when you're out hearing people, other parents, you start questioning what the district's putting out. And tonight was an example of that. 2 nights ago, I think they put out that they claimed that the TEA had left at 7 o'clock, and they had left the table. Well, what impression did that leave upon us as parents? The teachers are walking away. That was not the case at all. You started seeing information that came out that said, hey, the mediator was the one that had initiated that because the district didn't have it. That's just one of many. And I think that from a PR and a messaging standpoint, that is wrong. And I think that if any information is going to continue to go out to the public, it needs to be completely factual, and people need to do a little bit better job with just looking at that. And knowing that you're using that official mechanism to get that information out to us. I think we deserve that. The other piece is, I'm looking at quickly, is moving forward. This is eventually, I have faith that this is eventually going to get resolved, but I'm concerned about the leadership from this point forward. I think it's been fractured. I think the community, it's created issues. We're here because of that. And that's what I'm concerned about. And as a school board, my expectation is that something is done about this, and that we look at this, and that we learn from this, and that we look at that leadership, because we teach our kids, leadership skills and expectations. Our teachers do, and I'm not seeing that from the leadership of the Tumwater School District. Our superintendent, I think, has failed us in some respects. I have respect for him, but when I'm watching board meetings that do occur, and I see him not looking at the people that are speaking, when he's ignoring them, that is a complete disrespect. And I think that needs to be addressed. And you watch that, and that sets a horrible example. When I have my soon-to-be 8th grader questioning, well, why is he not looking at the people that are talking? That puts a pause in my mind. So I think that moving forward, the leadership, I think that the school board needs to really look at this issue and review this and really look at what has happened here and prevent this from happening in the future. Nobody wants to be here. Our teachers want to be in the classroom. I see the emotions on their face when they're out there. It's very clear. I love our teachers. I'm excited to see the smiles on my kids' faces when they come home. They're not seeing that right now. These teachers need to be in the classroom. They need to have a fair contract. But we also need to take care of long-term, what are we going to do to fix this so that this doesn't happen again, and look at this and learn some lessons from this so that we can move forward. So, thank you.
Okay, Jasmine Stray will be our last speaker, and then if either one of you like to address the board. And I apologize for the people that didn't get a chance to speak tonight, but we're already a half hour over time. So, but I appreciate everybody who came prepared to speak.
Luckily, I'm a sibling of 4, so I'm used to going last. So my name is Jasmine Stray, and I'm a K-2 special ed teacher down at Peter G. I feel like it's important for the community to know a little bit of my story. I was getting ready to student teach in Cheney, Washington in the fall of 2016. That August, I received a tip from a fellow special ed teacher in Tumwater that there were sped jobs that hadn't been filled. I contacted someone in the district office and asked if they would ever consider emergency certifying me for one of those positions. That same day, I received an email that said yes, and within a matter of days, I applied, interviewed, got the job, and uprooted everything I had in Cheney to move here. I did not graduate with my special ed degree until January of 2017, 5 months into my first year of teaching. With 1 month of school left, I finally received my teaching certificate in May. My point is that 2 years ago, the Tumwater School District emergency certified a teacher for some of the most vulnerable students we have. They have struggled to fill these jobs and hold on to these teachers. To be told, though, that I am harming children is the most heartbreaking thing that I have heard through this entire process, and I have taken that statement very personally. I will preface this with something very important. Anytime I was hurt during my first 2 years of teaching, I was keeping children safe. I have and will always put myself between students and those who are demonstrating escalated behaviors. I have and will always step in when a student is demonstrating self-harm. There is nothing that I wouldn't do to make sure every child in my room is kept safe. I, like many other special education teachers, have been assaulted both verbally and physically. I was kicked on more occasions than I can count. I was punched and I had students come at me with pencils and scissors. I've had my room destroyed, chairs thrown, and tables tipped over. I was headbutted in the throat, chest, and in the chin, all while in holds that are deemed safe for both the student and me. I was bit on many occasions through some Kevlar sleeves that still left bruises the size of baseballs. I went home with fingernail marks and scratches on my hands. I had students grab me by my lanyard or my clothes as they tried to climb on me, choke me, or pull my hair, but I never harmed them. What I did do was love them, and I loved them so much and with all the love I could give. I've held their little hands as they tried to pull their own hair. I sat with them as they yelled profanities at me and threatened me. I always opened my classroom door to them when they needed somewhere to go, and I've given up more breaks, lunches, and planning time just to make sure they received the support they needed. I've cried with them and comforted them after restraints. I've helped them clean up every book, manipulative table, and chair that was thrown during an escalation. I tried to cover up my bruises so they wouldn't have to be reminded of the previous day. I have allowed them to sleep in my room when they didn't get any sleep the night before. I provided meals for them when they came to school hungry. I have stood by these children and supported them through every up and down without faulting them for their behaviors, but I never harmed them. I went into special ed knowing that I could be harmed. I went in knowing that there would be children that called me names or physically assaulted me. But I also came in knowing that I was there for a reason, that I was there to support the children that were going through some of their most difficult times. I went into special education so that I could teach these children the foundational skills that they need to be successful in their future. I'm up here to tell you that every child deserves a teacher that cares for them and will put them first. Every child deserves a teacher that will forgive them, treat them with respect, and support them through their most difficult moments. At the end of the day, these teachers are fighting for that opportunity. They're fighting to provide for their students, to protect them, and to give them the best environment to learn, grow, and succeed. And like I tell my students, today was a difficult day, but tomorrow will be better.
Okay, so that's going to wrap up the segment for public comment, and I deeply apologize for people who didn't get a chance at the microphone. Many people picked up these question sheets out there. If you have questions that you would like addressed, you can fill those out and leave them on the way out. There's also some out in the lobby. And would anybody like a chance? Okay.
Right, she's the junior board member.
So Kim and Melissa came through the door tonight, and when they walked through the Chinook door, I was greeted with a hug from both of them.
Don't make me cry.
And I appreciate them being here more than you know. So thank you for listening, because I think people have been heard. So I appreciate it very much.
Thank you. I'm going to try to get through this without crying as well, but I don't make any promises.
You're not going to be able to do
camera. I said I wouldn't cry on TV. So I want to start by just sharing a little bit with you about why I wanted to come tonight. Like Regina, Tumwater is the place I have lived longest in my life. We are in our 19th year as Tumwater residents. I have 2 children in our schools, and I serve on the board because I want to make my community better and my schools better with the expertise that I bring. I have been a teacher, I have been a longtime school counselor, and I now work for the state in service of public schools. It is my passion, it is my life, it is what I dedicate every fiber of my being to. And those of you who know me will tell you that is true. I wanted to come tonight because only 2 of us could. We would be in violation of an Open Public Meetings Act if we brought more than 2. And Melissa and I are the 2 that have children in these schools that are with you every day. And we rely on you to help partner with us in parenting our kids and raising them to be the amazing people you've been talking about all night. And I really want to give you a hug. I'm resisting, but if you'll let me, I would like to. Obviously, there's not much I can say about the situation that brought us here because we are still bargaining. And I want to have faith that our bargaining team is going to reach an agreement because, like you, I want all our students back in school with happy teachers who are ready and willing to give everything they do on a daily basis to do what I believe is the most fundamentally important job on the planet, and that is educating the next generation to take care of us when we're older. I want to thank you because this community is inspiring. The reason that brought us together here is not a happy one, but I have watched as the community has come together in support of the system, the public education system that I love. And I hope with all my heart that we will reach an agreement and we will start to move forward. I've already made it clear to my colleagues and my superintendent, I have lots of ideas on things I think we can do better, but I also hope that you will help us to know what we can do better, because ultimately we serve you and we serve the community, and that is what I came to do here tonight. Thank you for allowing us to be here to listen. Thank you for welcoming us when we got here. That was really appreciated. I wasn't quite sure what to expect, to be honest. That just tells me once again why I have lived here for 18 years and why we continue to stay here and why we raise our children here. So thank you again for allowing us this opportunity and for coming together on support of our staff. I think that's it. I don't know what else to say. Melissa, it's your turn.
I did. Of course I did. You made me cry already. So this is what I heard tonight. And if I miss something, I'll think about it in the middle of the night, and then I'll regret not saying it. I heard passion. I heard family. I heard hurt feelings. I heard betrayal. I heard love. I heard dedication. And I heard caring. And Mr. Sobel asked, what are we willing to do as we move forward? And if you've ever been to a board meeting, you will hear me harp on this. For me, it's about relationships. I'm here about relationships. I'm here because relationships are more important than test scores. I'm here because I want to support you to build relationships with our kids, because that is what gets remembered. Not what they got in my aunt's math class, but that she cared about them. I'm here to support my aunt, who's a teacher at Bush Middle School. I'm here to support all the kids that I'm here to support all the kids that deserve all of you. And I know that you are trying your hardest to get back in that classroom. I don't hear greed. I don't hear any of that. And I know that that's what some people feel, but I don't hear that. I didn't hear any of that tonight. And so I too was a little nervous about coming here. I wasn't sure. So thank you for being welcoming. And I hope that I know that Tim always has school teachers come to board meetings. I hope you use that opportunity to tell us what your classrooms are like. It's pretty boring if you just sit there and watch us, right? I want to know, Kim and I, everyone wants to know what your classrooms are like. We don't want to wait until something like this. We want to know beforehand. So thank you for your time. Thank you for standing the whole time. Thank you for being here, and I appreciate everyone has emailed me about I support our teachers, and yes, you should support the teachers, because if the teachers lose our support or lose your support, then we're sunk as a community. You should always support the teachers. So thank you very much for being here.
Okay, to wrap this up, it's been a wild 2 weeks for our teachers. Out on the picket lines, just sharing information, bonding closer as a group, as a teacher family, as a union family. And we're going to get this contract figured out, and I know one thing for sure, that we've got a stronger teaching community here than we did 2 or 3 weeks ago, or 2 or 3 months ago. And I'm so proud. I walked over to the cemetery the other day when we did our day of service, and there were 120 teachers out there cleaning up the old Pioneer Cemetery, and I just sat there in awe, and it brought so much joy to me, and I was just really proud to be a Tumwater teacher. So thank you again for coming tonight. Thank you for everybody for being gracious to our guests, and please go back and share what you've heard today with your other board members and with the superintendent. I don't think what we're asking for is out of the realm of possibility. I certainly think that what we're asking for is deserved. And I want to thank the community and the parents the local businesses that have been bringing us food and coffee and more donuts than you can even imagine on the picket line. But it's really, and for everybody that's honked as they've gone by, sadly the people that live over by the district office aren't very pleased with us right now. But we're going to take care of them somehow after this is all done. But it's all of this is a total affirmation for what our teachers do in the classroom, on the athletic fields, every day. This is the most important job on the planet. And all of the educators in here are extremely proud to say, I teach in Tumwater. Thank you very much, and have a great evening.